First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
John Decker's on the line right now from Gray TV. John, I'm sorry you had to wait through that, but former Congressman Anthony Brindisi in studio. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning to you. Always good to catch up with members of Congress, former members of Congress, so no worries at all.
He made the announcement yesterday that he will not seek another term in Congress, and you know, I mean, he's a lawyer, he has a law firm. I guess you can't blame him.
Well, it's a tough job, you know.
Yeah.
I don't blame him at all, you know, and I'm always amazed by members of Congress who manage to balance all the different things you have to balance as a member of Congress.
Yeah.
You know, not only your work representing your district, but also your life, your home life.
Yeah.
And, you know, for some members, it's just too difficult to do, and so I understand why the congressman has decided not to run for another term.
All right, well, let's get into it. The issue of infrastructure. Somehow it looks like sound minds prevailed in all of this. Do you see it that way?
I do not see it that way.
Okay.
I will tell you. And the reason I don't see it that way is because it was a deal reached with 10 members of the U.S. Senate, 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats. Those 10 members, and, you know, I applaud them for the work that they've done in trying to find a compromise, but those 10 members do not speak for the entire U.S. Senate.
Right.
Those 10 members do not speak for Bernie Sanders. Those 10 members do not speak for Mitch McConnell. And those 10 members do not speak for the House of Representatives. So it's a step along the path to trying to get an infrastructure deal and a bill before President Biden. But it's just one step, and it certainly doesn't mean that an infrastructure package will ultimately get to President Biden for a signature.
Do you feel that will it be the right or the left that gets in the way, or the combination of the two?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
You know, the far right, the far left, Bernie Sanders in the Senate, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the House, they want a much larger infrastructure spending package, something on the neighborhood of $6 trillion. This deal is about $1 trillion. So you're not going to get those progressives, I don't think, unless some arms are twisted.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to get Mitch McConnell necessarily on board. And interestingly enough, he had an interesting statement yesterday in terms of what President Biden said in hailing this agreement. He seemed to both hail the agreement on the one hand, but then threaten to veto it on the other if other aspects of what he'd like to see in infrastructure spending do not pass Congress. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't think that we're done talking about this story.
We're going to fire quickly. I've got a minute and a half.
Let's do it.
So McCarthy going to meet with one of the officers hurt in the Capitol attack. What's going to come out of this?
I don't know. He's meeting with the D.C. Metro police officer, Michael Fanone. You've probably seen him. He's done a lot of
lately
interviews.
Yeah.
And he wanted to meet with members of Congress who voted against having a bipartisan commission. So he's going to be meeting with the leader for Republicans in the House of Representatives today. That's Kevin McCarthy. And McCarthy had previously said publicly that he'd be willing to meet with Fanone. So this meeting finally happening today. Eric Swalwell had claimed that McCarthy's office hung up on Officer Fanone. So the meeting finally occurring today, and we'll see what comes out of it.
He claims that he doesn't hold back at all, saying that Republican members who are downplaying what happened on the 6th are lying to the American public. He's very aggressive in his language. But, of course, he was there defending the
He was
Capitol.
there, yeah.
And was injured, by the way, and had brain damage, I believe, because of it. And then finally, the vice president, something you've been on from the beginning, going to El Paso. What's going to come out of this one?
I don't know what's going to come out of this one. We know what her schedule is going to be. She's visiting El Paso, the El Paso Border Patrol Station. She will deliver remarks while she's down there. She will take questions before departing El Paso for California. And she has a number of visitors along with her on this trip, including the Secretary of Homeland Security, and also the Congresswoman, Veronica Escobar, who represents Texas's 16th Congressional District, which is El Paso. So this will be the first visit as vice president to the U.S. border with Mexico. The vice president's office says that she has made other trips to the border. They were all along the California-Mexico border, so this will be a little bit different. And also, some have said she's not even visiting the part of the U.S.-Mexico border that has seen the most migrants cross over the course of the past few months. So we'll continue to follow this as well. No doubt about it, Bill.
This is no doubt a race to beat Trump to the border, right? I mean, he comes out and says, I'm going, they got to go.
You're right. He has announced he is going to be visiting the U.S. border with Mexico. That'll be next week, and that's the reason why this particular trip was announced with just 2 days' notice. Very unusual. You rarely see those kinds of last-minute schedule adjustments to the vice president's calendar, and that's exactly what happened when we got word of this trip on Wednesday.
All right, interesting stuff, John. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a great weekend, Bill. Talk to you next week for sure.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. John Decker from Gray TV.
This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. RAMP.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.